Hi, this is Dave Bazar, and I'm here with Mike Fenn, that's Fenn, and we are going to talk to you today about the just released December shipment report. Just as a setup, this is the fifth report for the 12-month cycle. We like to sometimes include July because it was so good, but that's the previous year. Why don't we jump right into it, Mike? Why don't you do some analysis?
So the December position report was the fifth position report of the month of the crop year that was a record, and really kind of the sixth in a row. Mm-hmm. July was the last position report of the 2019 crop, and that was a record.
How big of a record?
We shipped 25% more
Wow.
than we shipped in the month of December 2019. So blew it away, and really that was actually quite a bit above the expectations that people had. Mm-hmm. So there was a range of expectations of 240 million to 250 million pounds. So this 257 million pounds, I think is fantastic, especially given the issues that we've been having logistically in California. Just getting containers to the port, or just getting containers, vessels not showing up.
And we've been talking about that since October's numbers, right. and every week you'll come to the office and people are freaking out because there's containers stacking up, right. Yet you're still able to do these numbers.
Right.
Fantastic.
And then we still shipped about 51 million pounds more in December. So just really good. And I think if we were to kind of dive into it a little bit, the domestic market for the month was up 6%. That is their fourth record in a row. The export markets were up 32%, excuse me, 26% year to date. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing just fantastic consumption, fantastic traction there. If we were to delve into those export shipments a little bit more, I think you have to talk about China. So China really showed up in the month of December. They took 10 times more in-shell in December than they did last year. So they took 10 million pounds this year, where last year they took 1 million.
And that's still with a little bit of a higher tariff than they normally are used to. It's
right.
Reduced off of, say, last year's, but it's still
not a true price. They're not really seeing a true California price. And so for the month, they shipped about 17 million pounds more. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's fantastic. For the year, China's up 54%. If you include Vietnam in there, I think China and Vietnam are about 63% up, 62% up. So you're seeing fantastic traction there. Then I think, the one destination that we've been talking about a lot is India, and they deserve to be talked about a lot. They took 39 million pounds in the month of December. They were 62% up for the month.
And year to date, they must be up
79%.
Wow.
So they've taken 218 million pounds already this year, where last year their total consumption was about 250 million.
So they love almonds at this price.
Right. I think if you looked at in-shell specifically, right. Last year the industry shipped about 350 million pounds of in-shell for the entire crop year.
To all destinations.
All destinations, yeah. No matter where it's going, okay? This year we've already shipped 307 million. It's just, in-shell usually is going into these, more emerging markets, more of a price-sensitive market. So you're really seeing the true benefits of the value that almonds are currently at.
And I think the other thing that people always say with that is these are people that maybe never had almonds before, right. either, and so you're hopefully hooking them on it a little bit.
Right.
So even if you raise the price, perhaps some portion of them will still
stay with you, stay mm-hmm. consuming. I think one of the other destinations that we should talk about, they are not, the demand isn't skyrocketing off the chart, but it's the Middle East, and they're actually down. Mm-hmm. They're down 11%. And so I think if you read into it a little bit, I think that means they have to come back to the table. Ramadan's around the corner. They need us to be shipping here pretty quick. They need to buy it in January and ship it in February. So right after this position reports come out, we've seen demand come from the Middle East.
And that's always a cool part about the almond industry. You're shipping to everyone, so somebody can carry the baton for a while, and then Middle East takes it.
Right.
So
I think we feel really good about this, about the shipments from this report. I think the other piece of information that we're all watching very closely were those crop receipts. So at the end of November, you had received about 2.4 billion pounds. And so we were all kind of seeing, okay, where is this next report really going to put us? Well, we received about 440 million pounds. So we're basically just at a 2.9 billion pound crop. We've received exactly 2,896,000,000 pounds.
And that probably is a little negative, huh? Or no?
I think it's on the higher end of expectations for receipts in December. Because I think if you start to look out, okay, what did we receive last year? I think that you could extrapolate that this will probably put the crop just under a 3.1 billion pound number. I think probably 3.05, something like that. So,
and up to now, we've been just saying you can't guess from here. The receipts, it's too early. Now you start to.
You're dialing it in.
Yeah,
I mean, there's hullers that are done. I mean, you're coming to reality here, right? So, but I think that you've shown and demonstrated that the shipments can keep pace.
Yeah. So, and I don't think you mentioned. So you're running what year to date on the shipments?
Up 22.
22, and that crop size that
Up
we're talking
20.
about. Yeah, so you're still running ahead of that.
Right.
Do you have the other statistics as far as sales to date, as far as percentage sold in that?
Yeah, so Kurt, if you look at the total available supply, that includes the 450 million pound carry-in from last year, and let's just continue to use this 3 billion pound crop, you're 64% sold on the total supply. If I take the 450 million pounds out and look at it and say, how many pounds have I sold and shipped of the 3 billion, you're about 73.5% sold. You're still about 30 days ahead of last year.
So
so
ahead
you're
of
still
that,
ahead.
right? You feel, and that
Yes.
makes people on the sales side feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
Even
I'm
if you do
I'm
see a
not
bigger
behind.
crop,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Okay.
because I think that California has been, acting accordingly. Right? We've believed that it's a 3 billion pound crop. Virtually everybody was saying it was going to be a 3 billion, and you've sold it and you've shipped it like it is.
So super positive that the shipment numbers are dramatically up, really.
Yep.
Because I think you can use dramatic if it's 25%. The crop receipts are headed toward a little bit over the estimate.
Right.
So neutral to perhaps slightly bearish there. And to me, a lot of why can't we just price higher has been this worry about what we carry in to the next year. Right. And I did some little figuring myself. And if I use it appears you're headed to maybe 600 million as far as a carry-in.
Right.
If we that's the number I'm going to use. And if I go ahead and round up to 3.1
billion
crop.
now you're talking about the
just the crop size. If follow with me, we had 450 to bring into it. If I produce this crop of 3.1, that was a total supply of 355. So now, going to what's going to happen next year, if I carry 600 million in, what size crop do I add to that? And I think most people believe that this crop is probably going to be a little less. And if it's as much as 10%, which is not a lot, you're looking at a crop somewhere under 2.8 for this next crop. Add my 600, I come up with a supply that's only 3,390. So that's about 5% less almonds to sell for the next year. So in my view, all of a sudden that means anyone who received almonds from me in 2020,
your buyers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now they run the risk of there's less available in the following year.
I'm not going to have a selection of all of these things at all times.
And
that's with a 600 million pound carryout, right? So you could still continue to eat into that 600 if you continue to perform January through July. It could look at a completely different picture. Right. And if you have some weather event during bloom, I mean, the next position report is February 11th. I mean, that'll be right in crunch time.
Right on it. And I guess that's what I was trying to come to is that if I think there's going to be a smaller crop, 600 million it's not scary at all.
Right.
And we're going to see that here in, like you said, in a month.
Yeah.
6
30
weeks.
to 45 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much wraps it up.
Yep.
Bullish report. Pricing, you should have some indication.
In the next 2 or 3 days, I think we'd have a better handle on what it's going to be.
All right. And we'll post new prices in the portal. So thank you very much.
On to bloom. Here we go.
All right.